Hi, welcome back to another episode of Powerhouse Leaders podcast. I'm Stephana Johnson, and we are live for Powerhouse Leaders. So today we're talking about becoming a powerhouse leader, and if you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, then I'm going to review a couple things about what a powerhouse leader is versus maybe what you might have as an idea coming through this idea of powerhouse. I originally got this from Pilates, and so it's very, very much oriented towards the physical body as well as the mental body, as well as what we do and the effects we create. So one of the things that happens with any person who's a leader, and I really believe that each of us is a leader. We're either leading a family, we're either leading a business, but most definitely we are leading ourselves. And we have to take that responsibility back of leading ourselves and taking that personal responsibility for our own thoughts, for our own habits, our own actions. Now more than ever in our day and age that we live in, with the fabulous tools that we have with the digital world, technology, even with the things that have happened with social media and losing our right as far as our attention, because we know that the marketers can really manipulate that and what our attention gets fixed on and then what choices we make. So democracy is diminished greatly because of that. Some people can say, oh, well, no, it's just who has the most money to make themselves known. And really what's happening, though, is it's making it so that people aren't able to make their own decisions. That's why I am an advocate for each of us really taking back our power and restoring our right as humans to make choices that are for our highest good and best outcome. Because frankly, I don't think there's too many others that are actually that have our back. You know, if we don't do that for ourselves, for our children, for our families, for our community, okay, let's do this for our country, then other interests are going to do that. And we're seeing that, and it's scary. It's really scary. As a mom, I'm definitely afraid for my children's future. And so that's why I'm doing this podcast. That's why I'm talking to other leaders. And that's why I'm saying that we all have to step up and become a powerhouse leader. And in becoming a powerhouse leader, I'm going to give you some tools and tips. And then throughout the interviews of some of the really amazing leaders who are actively leading today, who are actively in major roles, from politicians who are really influencing in a positive way. They have some great insight, and I hope that you will take away some of that insight and apply it to your own life, to apply it to leading a better life, leading a better business, a better community, whatever it is that you are here to do and to lead. Know that you have to step up to it. We all have to step up to that personal responsibility and be self-aware as to what our decisions are, and those micro decisions. I talked about this last week. Those micro decisions add up. There's a compounding effect in every decision that we make, every choice we make, every action we make, whether it's the tiny micro decision of what are you going to drink today? Are you going to go through Starbucks and you're going to get that macchiato and keep yourself up an extra 4 hours when you really need to be sleeping, or, right? So we have to make those decisions. We have to come back to that point of, hey, bottom line is, at the end of the day, you are looking at you in the mirror. There's nobody else ultimately judging you. So if you can look in the mirror and say, yeah, I did the very best that I could today. I led a life today and took actions and made choices based on what was highest good and best outcome for me, for sure. But also, when you start coming into a higher level of your power and you become a true powerhouse leader, you are making decisions that are based on more than just yourself. You're seeing the ripple effect of your micro decisions and the macro decisions, and really having a bigger view of the impact that you can make, not only on your own personal body and your emotions, but how that affects your life, your family, your home, your community, the world, the planet, right? The universe. So that's where I want to come from today. I want to come from really owning our powerhouse, and we're going to look at it from two perspectives today. We're going to look at it from the body powerhouse, and we're going to look at it from the mind powerhouse. So when I had first started in Pilates in the 90s, and this is after dozens of years working with yoga and really just having that practice in yoga. When I learned about Joseph Pilates' idea of the powerhouse, this really aligned with what I practiced in martial arts, the Dantian, in Tai Chi and Qigong. So if you don't know, I founded Yogalachi, and I created that movement practice 20 plus years ago, and really am an advocate for owning your body, owning the way you move, what you think about, and optimally moving it, optimally focused on really the best nutrition you can put in your body, and mindset. So what are your thoughts in your mind? What's taking up space in your mind? And being aware of that, and then being responsible for what kind of actions are you taking to forward the best version of you, right? So if we go back now to this body here, and I'm really loving how the powerhouse connection of the body can allow for you and also foster better decisions when your body is is really in optimal condition. And sometimes leaders will forego their own health, their own physical health, their own mental well-being, in order to go and make something, to push or foster something else. And what happens, and a lot of times why clients come to me and they've been burned out and they're broken down, is because they've lost that connection to their own powerhouse, because they've put so much energy towards their family or the company that they're building. And we have to work on harmony. We have to really work on balance and harmony. And that's what a powerhouse leader does. So coming from the body place, beautiful concept of being able to hold a position in space physically, to stand in your own body, and to feel really good. I know you know the difference between having a good night's sleep and not having sleep for days. You don't think clearly, your body doesn't do well, you don't make as good at decisions, you don't act fast, right? Our reaction time is diminished. So we can't really take the physical body off the table as far as how it comes to play with our own powerhouse, and we want to have that piece in. Is it the most important? Well, I really liken this to what's most important for the person at that time. So if I'm coaching a client, I'm going to likely do triage, because it's not always sleep for everyone, but that would be the first thing that I would want to get in to ensure that's in. And part of that also is meditation, because we live in a time now where there's so much information coming in at us. We're constantly attached to the phone, and I've yet to see someone without their phone, but I require the phone to be off and removed from any coaching session I have. I think you should, for yourself, that is a healthy way to do that. You have boundaries with your phone, and that you have deep work time. There's a great book by Cal Newport called Deep Work, and really understanding that. I think is another one, if I can pull that out of my mind really quickly. Cal Newport, great author, really brilliant human, and digital minimalism, another really important book to read and to understand, so that you're not the effect of the digital world and you're not the effect of technology. You want to use technology as a tool. We really want to understand that and differentiate that we are not we have to be the users of the tool, not be the users like drug users. And that's a really clear distinction. And in fact, I think it did come from Cal Newport's book, if I remember correctly, reading that. At that time, he likens it to being a drug user for the digital world. We pick up our phone and we have to check for a text or check for messages or check on our social media, and then we become the user, really. But understand it's a tool, and using it as a tool and a valuable tool, awesome. The way we can kind of come back to baseline is the meditation practice, and I require all of my clients to have a meditation practice. That could look like literally 1 minute of silence, of just like calming down and reconnecting to your inner power. So in Tai Chi and Qigong, we call it Dantian. It's just the space below your belly button. You can do it physically. You can bring your hands down into your body, into your belly, or right below your belly button. And then just focus on that. Focus on your breath. It's very calming. If you're having a moment of crisis, or if there's a situation that as a leader, you're having to make a crisis decision, or you're having to make a snap decision, I would take the second to bring your hands down into your body, connect to your powerhouse physically, so that you can make a decision that is connected instead of a complete stimulus response decision. Probably the biggest problems happen because leaders make stimulus response. There's not a big enough gap for calm and awareness to come in on being stimulated and then making a decision. And I think that that's a lot of what our society perpetuates, and the whole marketing machine perpetuates, is that they're going to pinch you enough, they're going to poke at you enough until you finally push the button and buy. Or, and that's an analogy of a lot of different things, right? We can bring that down to a household, a family, and the kid's going to keep pushing, mom, what? Finally. Okay, so we have to, as powerhouse leaders, come back into our own space and hold that position physically from our power. It's why I'm an advocate of that connection to your body and being in optimal condition physically. Then it's so much easier if you're not in pain, if you're not in physical pain, chronic physical pain. So optimal nutrition goes a long way on that. And then the optimal mindset. So a lot of what I'm seeing now is that it's not about needing more information. Holy moly, we don't need more information. We don't need more facts, more figures, more information. We need less. We need to process what we do have and be able to cull and eliminate and release the stuff that's nonsense and that's really just distraction, just constant distraction. When we can do that, we make better decisions as leaders, as humans. And again, so when I say leader, I don't want people excluding themselves because they don't have a VP role or a CEO role or some leadership role. You have a leadership role by being you. In this day and in this age, each of us has to come back to owning our own power and stepping into our inner powerhouse, turning it back up, turning it back on so that we have enough power. And this comes to another beautiful concept. One of the traits of a powerhouse leader is that you are courageous. You have courage. Courage comes from heart. The root of courage comes from heart. And when we look at the history of heroes, it's not about being some god. It's about being whomever you are, and with the connection to your truth, to your heart, stepping into a place where it's no longer just about you, but it's having the heart and the courage enough for two, enough for more than just you. And that instantly makes you a leader. So in my book, each of us has to step up, step into that space of being a powerhouse leader. And like I said, I'm an advocate for that. I want to see all of us reclaiming that inner powerhouse. And then let's go up to this the mental piece of it. When I was studying to become a neuro-linguistic practitioner, and amazing tool. I think all of us, again, should know and understand this. So that's why I'm talking about this, why I'm teaching it, and why I use it with my clients, and why I will give nuggets, because you don't have to go to a 4-year school to understand neuro-linguistic programming. Understand that everything from a commercial, right? So if you think of, I remember that commercial when I was a kid, and it just plays over and over and over and over in my head, and I just can't get it out of my head. Well, you have some programming in your neurological system, and imagine that's just one thing, and you're actually aware of it. Hooray that you're aware of it. What about the countless amounts of programming that you're not aware of, that you're operating off of? Okay, that's a scary thought, especially when we look at the society, we look at the situation, we look at our politicians. Wow, what are they operating off of? What kind of operating system are they operating off of? Is it for our highest good? And then the people that are disconnected from really just being present and hearing and seeing what's here in the moment, and observing the obvious, like what's right there. There are basic fundamentals that we all have to reclaim, and understanding with awareness that we have programming that we are operating off of. And if you don't like the output of what's happening in your life, what you have to do is go in and look at the programming, and we have to change it at the programming level. So that's what I'm talking about when I say the powerhouse leader, from the mindset piece, from the mind piece, because our powerhouse is also our mind. It is our, not just our conscious thinking, but our subconscious thinking and our superconscious thinking. And we want to tap into that. We want to program that. And we want to learn how to optimally use that. That's what I teach. That's what I kind of preach about. And it's important. We're moving out of this patriarchal, dogmatic thinking. And I want to write this note down because I want to mention this later on about when we give our power away. But we're moving out of this patriarchal, dogmatic thinking that most have really been stuck on. And even me, I remember kind of extracting myself from a very dogmatic religion that I was deeply immersed in. And it took me years of so many habits and patterns that I had inlaid that it was almost like deep grief and loss, or this feeling of I'm losing a part of myself because of that programming. And that is going to happen, and it's going to have to happen. And you're going to have to, as a leader, be aware of this for the people that you're here to lead, because you're going to see the chaos come as a result of someone's old patterning. And that if that old patterning is ineffective, broken, unworkable, we've got to get rid of it, and it's going to be painful. There are things that are going to be painful. Just like if you have to make a decision to divorce in a marriage, after 17 years of marriage, it was one of the most painful things to do, but it was vital. It was absolutely necessary for me to make that decision, and you may have to make that decision too, of whatever that is. You could put whatever that decision is in there, but ultimately the decision has to be coming from a place of integrity, a place of what's the highest good and best outcome for this. And that's where we have to be thinking from and programmed from, because we are programmed. So what are we allowing to be in our programs? Is the program that we have running optimal? Is it the best? And so that's the other piece. As far as becoming a powerhouse leader, we want to really get insightful about this and step into this place of awareness. That's my first piece of my 5 steps, right? 5 steps that I talk about. Awareness first. You have to become aware. We have to be aware. And that awareness comes from using the tool of meditation. Let's not get confused about meditation. All meditation is clearing the screen. So if you have a computer screen and you have 25 windows open and you have this program open and that program open, that's the antithesis to meditation. So we want to close all the windows, we want to close all the programs out, and we just want to clear the screen and have a blank screen with a cursor with nothing going on, nothing having to be done, nothing having to be typed in. That's really meditation. You're clearing the screen. That's the best analogy I can think of to share what meditation is. So phones aren't on, people aren't, it's you're just calm, quiet, open, creative. It's not that you're open and receiving like a siphon, right? There's no TV, there's no input going on. You're just open and aware. And the more you practice it, the easier it gets. The easier it gets, the more fun it gets, because the results are amazing. They're amazing what can happen when you really get in touch with that. In fact, I pulled out a quote from Krishnamurti. Meditation is not a search. It's not a seeking. It's not probing, and it's not an exploration. It's an explosion and discovery. And I think if we don't have that time built in, we lose discovery. I talk about this when I go speak to groups on innovation. When creative flow stops, I know that group they haven't shut down for a while. They haven't just gone into that state of meditation. And it is really one of the most beneficial tools that we can have in our toolbox to restore our powerhouse. And the other piece that I wanted to talk about was giving our power to others, as well as those that have power in your life today, in our environment, in our government. We have given our power. We have given and assigned, and we have given others power. So this is a concept that I'll go into deeper, and I have a speaker coming in to talk about this, where when we give our vote, we're essentially giving power to them. When we are not standing up for something, when we know we should, we have not given our power by withholding it, but by the absence of standing up for something, we have actually given the opposite more power. And we could talk about this. This goes on and on with with bullying, and that we have to stand up, and we have to stand in our power and keep reclaiming it every day. And I think it's going to become more and more important that we understand this, and that we work together as a community, as within our families, within our communities, within our cities and our country and the world, so that our best interest is really looked at. And we pull down the string, we pull back the curtain on things that we're not okay with and that we're not fully understanding, but are required to do this. There's too many laws that have come into play that are not necessarily based on optimal good. And as long as we keep allowing for that, and this can go down to the micro. So this goes down into our own selves as well, from walking into a grocery store and the only choice that you have is, garbage. Well, stop buying it, right? So our money speak pretty loudly on that. So we have the micro choice and we have the macro choice. And without making this into something overwhelming, ultimately, as powerhouse leaders, we've got to step into our power. We've got to come back to that space, have a daily practice. Go watch my YouTube videos on Yogalachi. Every day I'm doing a practice of reconnecting to your power, your physical powerhouse, then coming down into a space of just calming that sense of meditation and using and connecting to your mental powerhouse. When you can do that, you're going to make far better decisions. I know that you know this. I know you've experienced this. You will not compromise on what you know is right, and you will do what is right when you are connected to your powerhouse fully. And that looks like being in harmony with your values, with your integrity, and then that expansive connection to what you're here to create from yourself, holding into that space, your family, your relationships, your community, your business. What impacts are your business bringing to the world? What is the impact that you're here to bring with your business? So even in your finances, right? I talk about money. Money is energy. So if there's something going on with money, if it's shrinking, check your energy, check your powerhouse. Powerhouse is your source of energy. Your physical body, that's an energetic connection. Your mental body, huge amount of storehouse of power that we talk about. All right, so that's becoming a powerhouse leader. We're going to continue on these series. I've got 2 guests coming up in the next couple weeks that you're going to love. And I will see you in the next podcast or next video if you're watching us live. So awesome. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment. Definitely want to hear your feedback. I'm here as an advocate for all of us to step back into our power, to reclaim our power. And if you don't have enough strength to do it for yourself yet, then and you're kind of stuck on, well, I've got to do it for everybody else. Well, frickin' do it for everybody else. Do it for somebody you deeply love, and then let's restore you. Because if you constantly do focus on giving it to everybody else, I can tell you from personal experience, you will become resentful, and it's not pretty. So we've got to make sure you're doing well, that your powerhouse is restored. And I can't see the feedback, so if I'm getting so close, I'm probably getting really intense. So I'll get back. But we want to come back into our own selves and restore your own powerhouse and know that you are valuable, and your powerhouse and your healthy, vibrant body and strong, healthy, vibrant mind are the most important things that you can invest in. Because when you do, you're going to have that much more positive influence on the planet and in everything that you do. Okay. All right. So that's it for today. Have an amazing day. Connect with your powerhouse. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next podcast, or we'll see you, or I'll read your comments. All right. Peace and blessings.